Okay, so this is the program, Brian. I think it was C plus. Is this a C plus plus? Let me make sure.
My our program,
Prototype, software development. No, your software development life cycle, right?
it's for our software development. Well, so the name of our course is called Software Requirements Engineering.
Okay.
And so the goal of the course, it's actually the students typically don't do much coding, if any, in the class. What they do is build out the requirements document and prototypes. And the prototypes could take on some coding in various forms. It kind of depends, but mostly they'll use wireframing applications like Figma or something like that to build visual prototypes of what an application might initially look like. I saw you were using something like Make. Um,
Okay. So okay, I've had several projects. So I didn't know which one I was trying to match with. So this was what you're looking at is the API, but we also have a robotics program too. So we have a robotics program where we're trying to program a robot and start a competition team across the state. So that
uh,
particular, so we have that project, but then we also have a project, and we also have a project with
this is
community.
the API one. Yeah, the one you had tried to match with me on was the API one.
So that is with Communiversity, and that is a workflow that's automated for pushing, mixing down a webinar and being able to create snippets for that webinar and being able to look at an automated process so that webinar could go to social media snippets with through automation.
Right. And I think it was called Make or something like that was
Yeah,
being used,
they're using
which I
Make.
think is like an AI platform. Um, One of the questions I have is uh, how was that framed? Let me go back and read this because uh, where did I see that at? Looking at the description right now. Leverage AI to amplify. Uh, oh yeah, build sample API workflows in make.com, right, using dummy data. And so I guess one of the bigger questions I would have, so what, again, just to give you some context of what our students do is one, it's the first class in which they're doing what we would call requirements engineering. And that is essentially documenting the features and the use cases and the flows and the structure and the design prototypes for whatever the application might be. And that's where I felt like what you were describing at least was looking like it might match. Um, Using make.com, one of the questions I had around that was if the expectation is to use that, that's a paid service. So like if students on a team were using that tool because that's the tool that the client or whoever wants to be used, how do our students get access to that platform?
Do,
Um,
do they have a free version? Do they
I
have
I
a
I didn't take time yet to like look into like if like they have an EDU sort of tier or what or how it's structured. I haven't had time to look at like what
Hold
how
on,
make.com is right
let me
is
call Morgan. Let me see. Hold on.
pricing model. Yeah, it says we use tools like high level, make.com, Munch AI to streamline things. It's just that students to work on it would have to have access to those tools if that's what
Well,
the company is using.
we will. I mean, I think Meg has a version. So that I just called my software, the person who's working on that part of it. I think that if there's a cost, we just pass it on to client. So or configure a way around it. But she's using APIs to talk to each other such that that they create this process. And so if it requires a tool, then we supply that tool to the students.
Okay.
We don't have
So
a problem
are you
with
like an in between for a client? Like, so is
we
that
make we make marketing affordable for nonprofits, climate
okay?
justice people, people who normally do not have funds to be able to do anything marketing. So,
Right. Okay. Fair. And it looks like they have some sort of system already that they're using, but they want to improve it, and they're looking for good ways to potentially be able to do that. Because at least the deliverables look like figuring out and documenting what the current flow is, identify the systems and processes being used, design flow diagrams, which is kind of what we do with things like Lucidchart or Figma, Canva. Like those are Canva is an AI sort of a thing at this point. Like
mm,
um, testing and building simple workflows.
right.
Um, it does look like it's something that could match, but that was my major question was if these tools are being used and if depending on what their pricing models are of those tools, it might be a situation where um, the students just need some way to access it. But
And then
it
what
did,
we do is we put them on a team of 5. So, like, if we have like, if it's cost too much for us to get 5, I mean, because we don't have much money, like, we take, like, a grant and we make it last for as long as we
I
possibly.
know, I hear you. I'm in a small school. But like, so usually in the course, students are on teams of two or three.
Okay,
Um, that's our typical. Usually, I have them in pairs. So usually, it's two students on a project.
okay.
So like this is a course where I have 12 students this semester. That's probably about 6 projects, unless there's a team that does, you know, a team of 3. It depends on how many students they would want on the project to get the work done in time. Here's the thing: I am brand new to Ripen, and I am we're piloting it essentially. Our online school has used it for capstones and stuff pretty extensively over the past few years.
Mhm.
Um, but on the traditional side, the undergrad traditional side, we're just starting to pilot it, and so it's one of these situations where let's say we I say, yeah, this looks like something that I bet some of the students in the class would love to work on this potentially, and
Mhm.
it seems like it's a scope that's achievable within the semester. So the reality is, so it's a semester. Our semesters are 15 weeks.
Mhm.
The students need a week or two to ramp up, right? Start even
Yeah.
knowing what software requirements are, like what the documents look like, what the tools are going to be, talking with whoever the client is, and getting a better feel for that. Um, at least on this project, the deliverables look like something that was achievable. And what I'll say in reality is 10 to 12 weeks.
Okay.
Right? You need a week or so to get ramped up and get the students in and everything started and all the information, all the ducks in a row. And then you've got that working time, and then there's the presentation and stuff like that at the end where which is what they want too. They want a final presentation and handoff. What I'm new to with Ripen, because it's new, is these are students that are juniors and seniors. So they've got some chops, but they're also still students. And um, and I've got it's a talented group, I'll say, that I've got coming in this year. I know the students pretty well. So I think I can have a group that would be talented and could handle, because the thing I'm concerned about most would be the expectations of work and hoping that you hit those expectations of the client whenever it's students doing the work.
So
Um,
I've been working with Shaw students for the last 10 years. So I'm
okay.
familiar with how our process of making sure, because we tried this project last semester with the Canadian students, and I missed the mark because I was like, wait a minute, these students were working on Trello, and I gave them something that was, I don't know what I was thinking. I was just happy to get students virtually. So then my 10-year experience from Shaw kicked in, and I said, okay, wait a minute, let me write these projects according to what the students are are in as far as the project is concerned. And so I began to write programs that were based upon the skill set of the students. So what we did was we gave the client still a deliverable, because our nonprofits, they don't know. So we showing up with anything, they're like, hey, hey, this is a something more than what they had. So we
Right.
actually changed the scope of that project probably midway through, because Morgan had given them this work and was like, I told them to figure it out. It's like, you can't tell students to figure it out. So I have a
Right.
process of checking in with them weekly, understanding where they are so we can see where the deliverables are, so that we deliver something to the client that's in the scope of what we need to deliver to the client. So if I
Yeah.
see that there is not something that is going to be delivered based upon, because the client doesn't know what we're asking the university for.
Right.
Me and Morgan, she's part of our team. We are
Hmm.
we are making sure that the client gets what they're supposed to have, and in the background, we are doing even more for the client that they don't even know about until we present and say, "Ta-da!"
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah. Sure. Um,
So
no,
I
I've got a talented group, and there I think there'll be students that want to work on something like this because of the experience with the AI pieces. I
okay,
mean, these are computer science students, so that is their major.
okay,
These aren't business students or cybersecurity things. These are programmers,
okay,
basically, software engineers. And so
right,
they've got to learn how to do this stuff anyway. And a lot of them will have worked in things like, um, well, they've worked with APIs, they've worked with
okay,
AI workflows.
okay,
They're going to get familiar with things like, I mean, they'll use whatever tools that they need to use. Like our students have used Trello, right? They've
right,
used they get exposed to things like Figma. Have you ever seen Figma before in any of the projects you've done?
right, right,
Um, it's the UI UX, so user interface, user experience.
okay.
It's the dominant application that developers use these days to mock up. It's like if you wanted to develop an iPhone app and
The
you wanted to see
prototype.
everything you would look you like the buttons all work and click like it would be
Oh
doing
yeah,
the
I've
thing.
done one of those before. I didn't know it was called Figma, but yeah, it's a new AI that drops and drags and makes it all easy for you to do.
Well,
So
it's they've integrated AI like every one of these platforms has, but it makes it pretty quick to spin up prototypes of flows for things.
okay,
Um, and so I think the documentation and the at least the scope, like the final presentation, 10 15 minutes, they want overviews of tools. They want some instructions on how do we integrate this API with this tool, or
okay,
um, what would be necessary. So I think it's achievable um, with our class. There's these different milestones that are in there that I think I can. I'm getting the course structures ready, so like think of milestones of when certain work would be
things will
done.
be done right.
So if I say yeah, let's do this, there's these things in here like this discovery and planning, right? System mapping, build and prototype. And right now it's in the project there as scope of work over 4 weeks.
Hmm.
I think we could double that.
Okay,
Now, I don't know if the client if they're on like a timeline for it. They might have their own timeline. That's the other thing is like week one discovery and planning. Well, with two students on a team, it might take 2 weeks to do that. So I would want to build in some buffer time
okay,
because we have a 15-week semester,
okay,
weeks line up. But if they're getting like a couple weeks to build out these different pieces, then I think they can hit it in a time frame that's doable. Because remember, these are students that are also taking most of them take 5 courses, right? So
okay,
their workload is it's not like
heavy,
this is the one thing they'd be working on, right?
right.
Um, so I think if the client is open to a flexible, like this is going to happen over the fall semester. Our fall semester starts on August 25th,
So
and
so let me tell you where the client is. The client is saying, y'all moving too fast. So because they're used to moving so slow. So we see they're building a library. This client is building a library. They're called communiversity. And so what we're trying to do is we're trying to automate our abilities, because I'm putting students on the work, and I don't want a student spending 20 hours on cutting social media videos or cutting webinars, like we can automate some of that stuff. So
Yes.
this grant is over a year. I told even the IT person, I was like, we got a whole year to do this. So and I'm delivering other things on the front end, like landing pages, doing the open house. So each week, each month when I sit with my client, they're getting their deliverables. This is stuff in the back end that I want to see get done for this client so that we can set up affiliates in other markets. Like I said,
I see.
the client is like, you're moving too fast, and this is a client that when you see the dock workers saying we're not going to work and they're shutting down docks, that's what these people are doing. They're doing worker assemblies across industries, communicating with each other, but they're doing it in an antiquated way. They're doing it in a way where there's phone calls being made there. And I'm like, we got to get up real quick a new system of organizing, because robots, you only need a third of the workforce. Not only do we need to make sure that we can organize workers, but we need to also make sure we got some solid workforce development classes going on. We need to also make sure we have some robotics camps going on in the community. And so it's really just being able to yes, organize, but to bring in technology that's going to make this community center a turn to when the communities are cut off from a major way. This becomes a resource hub that's prepared. And so the client, I'm thinking farther than the client, and I am providing landing pages for the open house, but we're building a whole library, and I want to be able to bring it from a space where we have a catalog that we've had developed by a university, and you're not paying $100 a month for it, draining your budget. So that's
Right. So
the kind of
so
stuff we're
this
doing.
project is there's all these different pieces to the organization and whatnot, and you're wanting them to build out essentially a prototype or design and information that would help automate processes to
Right.
get things done quicker.
Right. Hey, Morgan, I have Ryan Hall on the line, and we're looking at the automation part. And the make. He had a question about make. How is make priced? Is it priced for? Does it have a free version and upgrades at a certain time? How is?
Yeah, so there's a free version and you get 1,000 operations.
Yeah, it's a free version to get 1,000 operations, Ryan.
Like, yeah.
And we only need about what, 5 or 6 operations
Ooh. For what?
for the workflow to cut the webinars.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. Okay, how many operations do we need?
I
About
think, I mean, I haven't counted them per se, but let's just say each run runs 10 operations, and there's probably about 5 different parts or segments that run.
okay.
Um,
No,
what's
my
the
question is really just if a tool needs to be used and that tool incurs some pricing, where those funds come from, or if we like if a client's using make.com and our students need to get in there and do stuff,
We cover the cost.
right.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So Morgan, I'm here with Brian. Did you want to kind of sit in on this phone call, or did you have did you I can send you this video later. That's what I can do. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We just got back from helping Muna.
Okay. So then I will talk to you later. Thank you.
Okay.
All right. Bye-bye.
Yeah, and I've got about 8 more minutes because then I got a second meeting as I mentioned. But no, I like the theme of the project. I like what it's trying to achieve. I think the scope is right for students in a semester. And it doesn't seem like I mean, it's not, it's important to get it done, but it's not like the world's going to absolutely fall apart if something's a little lackluster either.
Right.
It, so
I mean, we can even put it to another iteration. You know what I'm saying? If it wasn't quite
right.
right, we can look at another class and say, okay, let's fix the bugs in this, and
Yeah.
bring it to the client, like, ta-da, or not even take it to the client. Just, we don't have as much work to do because that is a system of webinars that we need to be able
No,
to.
I think our students I think, I mean, this is an impressive group that I've got coming in, and so even as first year students, this group they just built some. We called a tech sandbox class, and they just built some amazing things with technologies they had never touched before. So you just give them space and time and a little guidance, and um, I think something cool could pop out the other end.
Okay.
So I think this is a good. My opinion is this is a good fit.
Yay, Brian! Yay!
And I wanted to have the conversation. So um, as long as I'm guessing there will be some sort of in that first week. So the week would be
Orientation,
August 25th. So
August
as you think
25th.
ahead, and so our first class as a group is our class meets once a week for 3 hours on Tuesdays. And the way I kind of structure the class is they come in, they will have done whatever readings are necessary. We do some reviews of here's the topics that we're talking about, like what the like parts of the documentation or the flows that we're working on this week. And they do a quiz, and then it's working time. It is a project oriented class. And so it's like if there needs to be a meeting, um, this class is on Tuesdays from 10 to 12:45. And if meetings need to be set up at other times, that's fine. We can make that happen. But and the way I say is that's like the beginning of the work week for them. And then everything usually has to be submitted and done by 5 p.m. on Friday. I
Okay.
tried,
Okay.
I try to keep them so that they're not waiting till the last minute, working on stuff over the weekends, that kind of thing. I try to make it feel a little bit more like you've got a client, you've
Corporate.
got projects to be done. What can you get done this week, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay.
But I'm assuming there would be like an onboarding sort of a.
Yeah, we onboard. We meet with them weekly. They'll meet with Morgan, and then they'll meet. The project manager will meet with me on Sundays. So that lets me know exactly what they need. Morgan is going to onboard them, tell them the scope of the project. I've already done a workflow, so they know exactly how it works. We've actually pulled some snippets from Munch, so we have. And from what I'm hearing, everything that we have has an API with it, so those systems should talk to each other. And
Right.
yeah, so yep.
All right. Well, we'll give it a shot. We'll see how it goes.
Okay.
It'll be fine.
So what's the next steps that we had that we have do what's the next steps?
Well, I just need to say um accept. um so I'm gonna hit accept here. It looks like you need to accept on the other end.
Okay, I'm
And
accepting.
then I think it's if you want to I think the best thing to do
Mm-hmm.
will be to set up a time with me. So
Okay.
the semester starts on August 25th. So the students aren't going to be involved until then anyway.
Okay.
Is to set up a time with me to meet with whoever I need to meet with to kind of get a really good overview of here's what this thing looks like, here's what we're thinking, like whatever kind of other information there might need to be. So like kind of like I get like a mini onboarding kind of a little
Okay.
bit,
Okay. Okay.
um, and a real good clarification of what the different pieces, what different APIs are being used in what ways.
Okay.
So it's like, yeah, we use Munch, we use AI, make.com, but yeah, but how are the tools how are each of the tools connected, how they're being used for what different pieces of the pipeline,
Okay.
just to get a better sense of it myself, so
Okay.
that whenever I talk to students or try to sell a team of students on it, I
Okay.
can talk intelligently about it with them as well.
Okay.
And then us sort of planning then that first week of the class, a time to do whatever presentation or onboarding to the students, um, and figuring out which specific students should be working on the project.
Okay.
But I think the next thing I'd like is just a better sense of the thing itself.
Okay. We'll do. Okay. We'll do. And that's you say a week out before August 25th.
That's fine.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds good. So I'll get on your calendar before August 25th. I think did you put me, do I have your calendar link? I've been through a lot of these things.
You do not have my calendar link,
Okay, so if
but
you could put that in the and ripping, typing. And
yeah, let me I'm on Google Calendar. I will.
you can just put it in our little message there. because I go
Yeah.
into Ripen all the time and check. So I'll when I go in, I'll see to be able to
Yeah.
book it.
I always set up appointments and events and stuff like that, but I don't even know how do I even just share my calendar link for scheduling? Because
Well, I can schedule mine. Oh, I can send you mine's calendar link if you want me to do that, and then you can book what's a good time for you, and that'll be on my calendar, my and your account.
that might be easiest.
Okay, I can do that. I can put my calendar link in our chat, and I gotta check it though, because for some reason I gotta make sure that I guess my personal meeting is on there.
Yeah. I wish there was just a button in Google that just said, "Here's your calendar link."
You know what? I was using Google's calendar, and I was like, I gotta get high level back because it confused me. Then I tried to do it, and yeah, I couldn't
Well,
figure
so
it out.
like in Google, I got to set up like to set up where people can schedule with you. You got to set up appointment slots, and so I do that for like my office hours and stuff like that. But um, I don't know if there's a way to just generically say, "Hey, here's my calendar. Book a
It,
time."
yeah,
Uh,
it is. It is. They have
there probably
it's in
is.
there somewhere. It's embedded in there. It's just not. It's not easy to find.
Yeah, there should just be a button at the top. That
Yeah.
should be there.
Well, no worries. I'll put mine in Ripen, and then we can go from there.
Yeah. Um, that's fine. We'll just start with that.
All
If
right.
I can figure out a way to share my link, I will do.
Okay.
Okay, so we both accepted it, so it looks like we should be good to go.
Okay. Well,
Well, look
thank you,
forward to learning
sir.
more.
I'm
And
yeah, I'm excited about this, and thank you.
yeah, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well. Have a good one.